and complete full lineup ng Gilas Pilipinas.
Point guards, CJ Perez, 6'2", 187 pounds, 27 years old, 24.3 points per game, 6.8 rebounds per game, 4.2 assists per game in his PBA bubble averages. Kiefer Ravena, 6 feet, 180 pounds, 27 years old, 19.3 points per game, 5.4 rebounds per game, 4.6 assists per game in his PBA bubble averages. Juan Gomez Deliano, 6'1", 163 pounds, 21 years old, 8 points per game, 5.4 rebounds per game, 2.3 assists per game in his last season averages in UAAP. Matt Nieto, 6'1", 160 pounds, 23 years old, 7.3 points per game, 2.4 rebounds per game, 2.3 assists per game in his last season averages in UAAP. Shooting guards, R.R. Pugoy, 6'2", 180 pounds, 28 years old, 18.8 points per game, 5.6 rebounds per game, 2.3 assists per game in his last season averages in PBA bubble. Dave Ildefonso, 6'4", 175 pounds, 21 years old, 17.1 points per game, 5.9 rebounds per game, 2.5 assists per game in his last season averages in UAAP. Ray Suerte, 6'4", 170 pounds, 26 years old, 14.8 points per game, 5.1 rebounds per game, 2.1 assists per game in his PBA D-League averages. Small forwards, Dwight Ramos, 6'5", 210 pounds, 22 years old, 6.6 points per game, 3.4 rebounds per game, 0.3 blocks per game in his last season averages in Cal State. Calvin Oftana, 6'5", 180 pounds, 25 years old, 15.6 points per game, 8.2 rebounds per game, 1.2 blocks per game in his last season averages in NCAA. William Navarro, 6'6", 179 pounds, 23 years old, 7.6 points per game, 6.6 rebounds per game, 1.2 blocks per game in his last season averages in UAAP. Mike Nieto, 6'1", 220 pounds, 23 years old, 4.4 points per game, 3.5 rebounds per game, 0.3 assists per game in his last season averages in UAAP. Power forwards, Troy Rosario, 6'7", 218 pounds, 29 years old, 12.2 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, 1.7 assists per game in his last season averages in PBA bubble. Justin Baltasar, 6'8", 185 pounds, 23 years old, 18 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, 4 assists per game in his last season averages in UAAP. Javi Gomez de Liano, 6'5", 190 pounds, 22 years old, 9.4 points per game, 5.4 rebounds per game, 2.3 assists per game in his last season averages in UAAP. Ken Mark Carino, 6'8", 180 pounds, 23 years old, 2 points per game, 1.4 rebounds per game, 1.2 assists per game in his last season averages in NCAA. Centers, Kai Soto, 7'3", 240 pounds, 18 years old, 25.1 points per game, 13.9 rebounds per game, 2.6 blocks per game in his career averages in UAAP Juniors. Angelo Kwame, 6'10", 230 pounds, 23 years old, 12.5 points per game, 11.8 rebounds per game, 2.9 blocks per game in his last season averages in UAAP. Justin Chua, 6'6", 245 pounds, 31 years old, 13.1 points per game, 6.8 rebounds per game, 1.7 blocks per game in his last season averages in PBA Bubble. Isaac Go, 6'8", 190 pounds, 23 years old, 9.8 points per game, 4.9 rebounds per game, 1.3 assists per game in his last season averages in UAAP. Raul Soyud, 6'6", 222 pounds, 30 years old, 10 points per game, 6.8 rebounds per game, 1 assist per game in his last season averages in PBA Bubble.
Ito ang official and complete full lineup ng Gilas Pilipinas.
Kung kayo ay may opinion sa aking video mga kababols, ay comment nyo na lang sa baba. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel